Welcome back to the Sedona International Film Festival 2020. I'm Tanya June Moore. I'd like to thank the Sedona Advertising Agency, the Sedona Rouge, and Broadcast Rentals for being our sponsors in the media room this year. Thank you very much for making this live stream possible. I have more wonderful filmmakers here with us. Introduce yourselves, tell us the name of your film.
My name is Lucy Bruell. I'm the director and producer of OLI OTYA, Life and Loss in Rural Uganda.
And I'm Howard Eisen. I'm a physician in the United States, but do global work with my wife, Randy Diamond, and the film
Centers around
our work.
So you've already had a screening here. Yes. How does it feel to be at the Sedona International Film Festival? What was your experience like in that screening?
It was great. It was a very engaged audience. People really, this is a largely invisible world. Mm-hmm. And even though it takes place in Africa, it resonates universally. Mm-hmm. So it was really wonderful to see it on the big screen. And I think we had some good questions. It was an enthusiastic audience. Mm-hmm. And I've just met tons of very friendly people since I've been here.
Yeah, we call it the Filmmakers Festival. Are you feeling that?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's one of those festivals that people tend to go away and really feel it after mm-hmm. they've left. I think it's such
and forming lasting relationships. I think too.
Well, it's all about the connection here.
Yes.
And supporting the filmmakers and the people in the film that help create
mm-hmm.
the film. You brought a scene. I want to show the scene so mm-hmm. we can all get on the same page.
He's a 45-year-old man, and he had had a diagnosis of squamous cell cancer. He had been advised to have radiation therapy, and he said to me, maybe I could go for radiation, but I would have to sell this bicycle. And if I sell the bicycle, my children can't go to school. In that moment, I thought, no one should have to make that decision. And I wish that wasn't the situation for him. But at least we could offer him some pain medication and some support and some materials to clean his lesions.
I saw you a few months ago. How have you been doing since then?
Does the oral morphine help the pain down there?
Yes, it helps.
So what does OLI OTYA mean?
It means, how are you feeling? Mm-hmm. And you hear it throughout the film.
Yes.
Yeah.
What got you started in this work? It's so intense.
It is intense, and my wife is a palliative care physician in New York, and she did palliative care in the United States. And at one point she was asked to go to Uganda, and she said, I'll go to Uganda if I can work in Uganda. I'll visit you. And that was about 7 years ago. And she went by herself with my daughter, actually. And I said to her, go, but there's nothing we can do. We can't, we don't have a lot of money to just pour into this and all. So just go and see what's going on there. And she came back and she said, we have to go back. We must help these people from their suffering. Mm-hmm. It's all about the palliative care, which is not directly curing things or making an illness better, but relieving the suffering. Because in an area like this and so many other places in the world, you can't cure. Even though it may be easily curable in the U.S., but there, at least you can limit their suffering. And so now we just feel the need. We have to be there.
And, this raises my heart to say that's what doctors are supposed to do.
And that mm-hmm. comes up all the time, that's really the core of medicine, or as Randy says, the heart or fabric of medicine, the essence of medicine, which I lost along the way as a private doc in a community, and forgot what the healing and curing and caring is all about. It became very high tech. Mm-hmm. And we go there and we're stripped of all that when we're there. And all of a sudden it goes to the root of palliative care, which is communication and feeling these people and empathizing with these people. And that's what this film, I think, shows, that whether it's with conventional doctors or alternative doctors, and Lucy was very good at bringing that in.
That was my next. That was my next question, and I think Sedona will resonate with that. Is you brought in alternative medicine, some of the herbs and the things that they use, and it wasn't this, it's not going to work.
Right.
It was very supportive. Why was that important to you to tell that part of the story?
Well, I didn't want this to be a story about how Western medicine is taken to Uganda. I wanted to show the partnership between the team in Uganda and Randy and Howard and Jamela Raymore. And I thought, these are people who first go to their traditional healers. And it's such a integral part of their lives. And one of the things I noticed was that there were parallels between traditional healers and what palliative care tries to do, which is have a relationship with the patient, understand what they're going through, helping them in whatever way. As Howard said, even if there's no cure, there's a way to care. Caring never stops. And so I wanted to show both sides.
Well, and I think that even the healers that are there, their stories are just as powerful. It wasn't just about a healer coming in to heal somebody. They had their own reasons of why they do what they do, whether it was a spiritual something, or I was called, or just something really personal, like I was sick and this happened and I figured it out and I wanted to help other people. So I commend you for telling that story. That story doesn't get told a lot. How did that make you feel, being a Western medical doctor?
It's actually kind of unsettling to be a Western medical doctor in an underserved area like this. We struggle with this. We don't want to be viewed as, we're coming in on the white horse and, we're going to fix everything for you people. We work with them. When Randy went the first time, she came back and she said, "Do you want to know something? I went to teach them about palliative care and what we do and our techniques, and I ended up learning more from them than I gave them." And that's every time we go, and we go several times a year, we learn from them.
What did you take away from making this film? I mean, what was your gift in this?
Well, I got into this because I had worked with Randy before, and she said, you should come to Uganda. And as a journalist, I love going into different worlds. In fact, I had been here many years ago to cover the Navajo Hopi relocation for Newsweek. And so I was very excited, and I was curious about how the two cultures would interact. And plus, I wanted to see what it was like to live in rural Uganda, where there really isn't running water. People live with very little, but yet relationships, family, caring, responsibility for one another is so beautiful. And so, it's life there. So I went thinking I was just going to follow them, and then as the longer I stayed, the first year I worked with my American cameraman, and the second time I went, I worked with the Uganda crew. And it was through the Uganda crew that I had entree into the other world. I mean, the police came to the traditional healer and tried to stop me, but we worked everything out, and the bone setter was very open about allowing us to film. So was the healer after he knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I felt like the story wasn't complete unless we kind of figured out, what role that played in people's lives there.
Well, I mean, I could feel my heart beating in my chest with many of these stories. I didn't even want to get to the end. I knew there was going to be a readout at the end. I was like, I could just not enjoy. The audiences are talking. I think people are really enjoying what you've brought to them here. So thank you for doing this, and thank you for the work that you do.
They're pretty extraordinary.
Yeah. So where can people follow up on this film, and what's your intention with distribution with this?
I think it's doing the festival circuit. I've had other films on broadcast on PBS, and my producer from PBS and I are talking. So I'm looking for a pretty widespread distribution, but also I really want to show it at medical schools, global health programs, and combine the screening with a discussion about what is global health. The other thing I wanted to say is we were able to work with Samite, who is a wonderful musician. Howard introduced me to Samite, actually. And he also does TED Talks, and he has a foundation for healing in music. So I wanted to try to arrange some programs with him as well. Yeah.
So stay tuned, because this film is one that will hit you right in the heartstrings, and will also give you a little bit of humanity back, because I know it made me feel good about there are people that actually still do the work, and that's a wonderful feeling. So thank you, and thank you for bringing
Thank
this
you.
story to us. Stay tuned. We'll have another filmmaker in the seat right after this. Hashtag Sedona Film Fest 2020 and Sedona Film Fest 26.